Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video where again we will talk about Dota and League of Legends. In this series, we will talk about certain aspects of Dota and League of Legends and what makes them different or similar to each other. And today what we're going to talk about is most of the things that I talk about in this series have some kind of impact in these two games and what has made them different in their own way. But in my opinion, this is the second biggest reason why these games are played in a different way and you need to have a different mindset when you are choosing your items in these games. First, let's talk about League. These are your main stats and they are really important. Most of you guys who play MOBAs already know what they mean, so I will speed run this information. This is your attack damage. Your auto attack will deal damage depending on this stat. And the next one in purple is magic damage or ability power, what this game likes to call it. Most of the time, this stat buffs your ability damage, hence why it's called ability power. Then we have armor and magic resistance. More armor means less attack damage you take, and more magic resistance means less magic damage you take. Next is attack speed and ability haste. Attack speed gives you attack speed, and ability haste reduces your ability cooldowns. Then we have crit rate and movement speed. This one increases your chances of crit damage, and this one gives you, well, movement speed. Listen, I don't know what else to say. It does what it says. Then we have our next list of stats, starting with HP regen and heal and shield power. If you are a support and have healing capabilities, this is your best friend. Then we have armor penetration and magic penetration. These stats come in play when you are dealing with a tank who has a lot of armor and magic resistance. Just like how armor and magic resistance negate damage from enemy champions, armor and magic penetration negates the amount of armor and magic resistance of the enemy you attack. Next, we have lifesteal and omnivamp. Lifesteal means the percentage of your auto attack damage turned into healing, and omnivamp is just similar to lifesteal, but this time we turn percentage of all types of damages, whether it's physical, magical, or true damage, and turn it into health. Then lastly, we have tenacity and attack range. Tenacity is just your crowd control resistance, or status resistant, what it's called in Dota. And don't worry about the attack range, you won't be needing this one. And you might be wondering and saying to yourself, oh my god, why is this image.jpg telling me things that I already know? And trust me, there's a big reason for that. In this game, your abilities scale with your stats. For example, if I'm playing Akali, and you can see that my abilities will scale with ability power and attack damage. Which means if I have more of these stats, then I will be able to deal more damage with my abilities. So instead of buying armor or attack speed, my main focus will be ability power and magic penetration, and start buying items like Shadow Flame or Death Cap. This game also has good passives with items. For example, Rift Maker increases your damage every second in combat with enemy champion. At maximum stacks, you get Omnivamp. Or how about Heartsteel, that charges your auto attack after a few seconds, dealing damage and granting you permanent HP. But my favorite is the Dark Seal. This is one of the cheapest items in the game, but has a major impact if you play it right. Gains 2 stacks for killing enemies and 1 stack for assisting. These stats give you ability power up to a maximum of 40 AP. This is literally 55 AP for just 350 gold, which is insane. And not just that, you can also upgrade this item that gives you 25 maximum stacks. That means you have a capability to get 145 AP from this item, which is a lot. But this item is a double-edged sword because if you die, you will lose a lot of your stacks, which makes it a high risk, high reward kind of item. And one of the best items as well, because if you're good, you can snowball the game pretty easily. But with that being said, active items are kind of lackluster in this game. Most of the time you have like only 1 or maybe a maximum of 2 items that are active, and that's it. Not the biggest fan of them, although there is one of them that is really good that I would like to point out, and the main reason why I'm even discussing active item is because of Hourglass. When activated, put yourself into a stasis mode for 2.5 seconds, which means you are invulnerable to everything and every kind of damage. but that also means that you cannot move, auto attack or cast abilities. Long story short, you are sent to the Shadow Realm. But let's keep moving and talk about Dota 2. Rather than making you prioritize certain stats so that you can get the maximum output from your champion, Dota takes a different direction, making you prioritize what you need. But before we talk about the items, let's talk about how it works. Let's just say you are playing position 1 Phantom Assassin. Because your team is relying on you to carry the game, you will spend more time farming and getting your major items. This is why you will buy Battle Fury. That will speed up your farming process. Phantom Assassin has a lot of damage thanks to the ultimate ability that gives you a lot of crit damage, which is why you will buy Desolator, which gives you really good damage and armor reduction to the enemies you attack, so that you can get most out of your crit damage. This hero is really squishy, and if you get stunned, it's GG's. So to counter that, we're gonna buy Black King Bar, also known as BKB, because getting stunned is the main reason you get killed as Phantom Assassin. In late game, it's really hard to kill someone because they have items to escape your assassination attempts, which is why you will be buying Abyssal Blade, which stuns your enemies when you use it. And trust me, you only need few seconds to just make their health bar disappear. Next, you will buy whatever you need and whom you're fighting against. Satanic if you are having trouble surviving, Nullifier to dispel your enemies, Moonshard if you want a lot of attack speed, and Divine Rapier if you want to obliterate enemies with a kitchen knife. But you are understanding what I'm trying to say, right? You're gonna be buying items that you need and what suits you the best in that situation. This game has really good active and passive items. For example, we have Diffusal Blade, which has a passive that burns mana of your enemies when you attack them, dealing even more damage. But if you use his active ability, he slows down his targets. Shadow Blade makes you invisible for 17 seconds and increases your movement speed. Radiance creates an aura that deals magic damage to enemies around you. Rod of Athos can root your enemies. Manta Style can create illusions that looks like you. And everyone's favorite, Black King Bar, which gives you insane magic resistance. You're immune to pure and reflective damage, and also any negative effect from the enemies will have no effect on you. Yes, even slows, stuns, hacks, and even roots. That is why this is everyone's favorite. But I'm gonna be honest, a lot of these items with active and passive abilities don't have big number of stats with them, because I don't think PA is spending more than 4,000 gold just to buy an item that gives 10 strength and 25 attack speed. No, they're buying it for this. And this game has the most broken active and passive abilities. Like, do I need to say more? Like, this item was so busted that they have to nerf him so many times, and still this item is busted. Now, I'm gonna summarize my experience when I buy items in these two games. When you buy items in League of Legends, it's like a small and steady incline. You're getting stronger and stronger over time. This game has a lot of stat items, and very good one as well, with passive abilities which are also really good. But active items, I'm not a big fan of that. Dota is more like analyzing your situation and buying items according to your situation. When you get your first core item, you get a very big power spike. One best example that I can give you is when Axe get his Blink Dagger. Like, that is when you get a real big power spike. And then you get another item that gives you another big power spike. This game has a lot of active and passive ability items, which are incredibly broken, by the way. Stat items are not something that people mostly prioritize. I mean, it's good to have, but because, as I said, items with active and passive abilities are broken in this game. But it's still good to have those items. And that's all I have to talk about in this video.